Welcome to the Dansportstips NFL preview show. We are taking a look at this season's outlook for all the teams in the NFC West today. Obviously, we've got the reigning champion Denver Broncos, though it's all changed in Denver, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Oakland Raiders, and the San Diego Chargers in this division. I'm going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. For the limitations of the Chiefs, which are obvious, they do have fairly obvious strengths as well. They take care of the football. Alex Smith doesn't take risks, which can be a weakness. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's a strength. Their best player on the offensive side of the football returns this year, assuming health. And we've seen Jamal Charles come back from the ACL injury before, and he was fine then, though I do accept he's older now. Spencer Ware and Shaquandrick West were certainly adequate in his absence last year as the Chiefs took a wild card berth. They've upgraded their offensive line this year with the addition of Mitchell Schwartz from Cleveland to play right tackle. Arguably, they should have increased opportunity to move the football on the ground. Travis Kelce at tight end, the underappreciated Jeremy Maclin are two receiving options to move the sticks. Despite all the jokes about playoff records and clock management, no matter how true they may be, Andy Reid remains a coach with an outstanding record of getting the job done in the regular season. This Chiefs team looks good. Defensively, they will miss Sean Smith at corner, as any team would. And Justin Houston, the best player on the unit, misses at least the first 6 games of the year on the PUP list. But they still boast Marcus Peters, the defensive rookie of the year at corner, grizzled vets such as Tamba Hali, though I think he's going to be missing week 1, and Derek Johnson, who continue to defy old father time and will need to do so again to hold the fort till Houston returns. Eric Berry's going to need to get up to full speed quickly, having held out for all of the off-season workouts, because he didn't want to play on the franchise tender, basically. That's going to be a massive key for the Chiefs as well. They do play excellent special teams. Tip of the hat to Dave Toub, who broke my heart when he left Chicago. The Chiefs are a legit team, and they have more evenly distributed talent and a reasonably soft schedule this year. And in my mind, I think they're the rightful favourite to win this division, even though it does contain the reigning Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos. Speaking of the champs, distinctly average on offence last year, and an all-world defence. I mean, if this time last year I had told you that Peyton Manning would get benched during the season for Brock Osweiler, you'd have thought me mad. As it is, neither of those quarterbacks remain, with Osweiler in Houston and Peyton Manning sat on the sofa watching Sunday Ticket. The key losses for the defensive side are Danny Trevathan, who's gone to Chicago Bears, and Malik Jackson to Jacksonville. Let's not beat around the bush. The defence is still going to be good. It is a practical impossibility that they will be as good as last year. And with Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch as the quarterback options, it's going to need to be. The running game is set up for CJ Anderson, another player who 2 years ago displayed a strong second half of the season and then failed to follow up and was a big letdown last year. I don't see any reason why he's going to bounce back this year. Of course, they have got the receivers. They've got Demaryius Thomas. They've got Emmanuel Sanders. But it remains to be seen if Simeon or Lynch can deliver the ball consistently. It looks to me like there's going to be an awful lot of sort of 17-14 type games or lower scoring on the cards for the Denver Broncos this year. The offensive line is in flux, though Russell Okung in from the Seahawks is a huge upgrade if he remains healthy, and that is a big if. But the status quo for a team that was poor on the offensive side of the ball and in the trenches for a while looks like it could continue, particularly if Okung goes down. Wade Phillips is going to have to work his magic as the cast on defence bears the load again for the Broncos this year. In my opinion, there's only so long that you can go on defending short fields, which is probably going to happen as this offence looks likely to stutter on regular occasions. And they're going to spend longer on the field if the offence can't sustain drives as well, or if they lose the time of possession battle. I just can't see the defence sustaining it for 16 games. Certainly nowhere near the level they were last year. This division is surprisingly competitive and interesting, especially considering that the reigning champions are in the division. I think the Broncos are likely to fall and fall quite a way this year. The Oakland Raiders, everybody's dark horse sleeper team, the off-season darlings. It's time for a newsflash. When everybody's picking you, you're not a sleeper, you're not a dark horse. The Raiders made massive improvement from disastrous to mediocrity last year as they went 7-9 off the back of a very strong first half of the season and encouraging looking play from Derek Carr and Amari Cooper. They went out and spent cash in free agency on cornerback Sean Smith, linebacker Bruce Irvin, and safety Reggie Nelson to replace the retired Charles Woodson. On defence to complement existing standout Khalil Mack, who is probably in the top 2 or 3 defensive players in the league. They added one of, if not the best guard in the league, in Omisali from Baltimore. They're certainly paying him as if he's the best guard in the league, with the hope of getting more out of the rushing game while offering further protection for Derek Carr, who the book does say doesn't deal very well with linemen in his face. I wouldn't either. But what does all this actually mean, the money spent and the progression they made last year? Arguably, it means a year of consolidation rather than a further year of progression. I mean, this is still a team that's won 14 games over 3 seasons, including the 7 last year. It's probably a fair guess that 11 wins will be the number to win this division this year, and meteoric rises from sort of 3 or 4 wins up to 11 in 2 years aren't that regular an occurrence. The run game is still below average, with the totals for Latavius Murray last year looking satisfactory, but the number of attempts reveal he is a product of volume. His yards per carry is around the 4 mark. He only gained 1.9 yards after contact last year. A trend that you will note if you've watched all of these videos is that I am always sceptical of fast improvement. And for that reason, more than any other, though the groundswell of support from the general populace does firm up this opinion as well, Oakland was, I don't think they will kick on this year. They were blessed with plenty of luck in random events such as fumble recoveries last year, and this team just screams 7-9, 8-8 again in what is a very competitive looking division. The other team in this division are the San Diego Chargers. They're very much a team in flux. Are they staying in San Diego? Are they moving to Los Angeles? The overwhelming story of their off-season, in true Chargers fashion, has been the Joey Bosa holdout. The top 5 pass rusher has finally signed. He's missed the entire pre-season. He's now picked up an injury prior to week 1, soft tissue, I believe, which is probably a conditioning thing. And that's going to get in the way of any production that they were hoping to get out of him. What they were going to get from him remained to be seen anyway, with regards to the fit to the scheme from what he was playing in college, but anything they do get is going to be a bonus. It's a lost season for a defensive unit that needed help, ranking in the bottom 3rd in sacks last year, and now minus the biggest name on defence in Eric Weddle, who's gone to Baltimore. The run defence was pretty bad last year. That gets a boost with Brandon Mebane in at nose tackle coming in from Seattle. Donald Butler has gone at linebacker. The defensive overhaul is certainly interesting. The Chargers do look fairly solid at corner with Verrett and Flowers. The linebackers are in the main young. Manti Te'o needs to sail off into the sunset with his imaginary girlfriend in the near future to improve the linebacker rotation, but that's a whole nother story. The general feeling is this Chargers unit is moving in the right direction. It's moving slowly, but it is moving in the right direction on defence. It's looking younger. Might not be that far away from competency, and potentially, if everything goes right, could be a slightly above average defensive unit. My friend Ben, who supports the Chargers, can attest to you that throughout the last few years, my phone has been battered with regular text messages lamenting the Chargers' offensive line and the injuries they seem to suffer almost routinely at the position. If they can hold together in the trenches, and we assume that Melvin Gordon cannot possibly be as bad as he was prior to going down with injury last year, with Travis Benjamin in to replace Malcolm Floyd as a deep threat receiver, complementing the Antonio Gates, who apparently drinks from the fountain of youth at tight end, and Keenan Allen as the number 1 receiver, supported by Stevie Johnson, and of course the hybrid running back Danny Woodhead, then the pieces are in place for Phillip Rivers to give this team one more shot. The schedule is among the easier in the league for this year, so even if they can't get to the top spot in the division, and I don't think they're as good as the Chiefs, if I'm honest, there are strong chances that a wild card can emerge from this division this year. And I think it's a fair assumption that San Diego are certainly better than last year's 4-12 record displayed. The bets I will make in this division, I think Oakland, the total for over-under wins is set at 8.5. That's high for me. I look at them as 8-8. That's the best season they've had in forever. And I'm going to play under 8.5 wins on the Oakland Raiders. I'm going to take the San Diego Chargers to get a wild card in the AFC this year. It's 9-1. It's certainly worth a couple of points. because Denver, I think, aren't going to be as good. Oakland, as I said, I think are going to drop down, and the schedule for this division isn't actually that bad. I'm going to take a small punt on Denver to finish 4th in the division, just because I think there's every possibility San Diego and Oakland can improve past them as they regress back down. And if quarterback's the most important position in the league, then what are Denver doing? And I'm going to take Kansas City to win this division. I think they are the best team. They're the most consistent team. They've got a coach who knows how to get results in the regular season, and I think they are the rightful favourites for this division. That's my opinion on the AFC West. Let me know what you think is going to happen in this division in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Give me a follow on Twitter at dansportstips. Don't forget to check back all for the rest of today, as I'll be releasing AFC previews and throughout the NFL season for regular content. Check out my daily fantasy shows for DraftKings as well, and I will see you later.